Your assignment for this module is to design a flag. Actually, you'll be designing two flags, and we'll talk about the details in the next video. In this video, we're going to talk about flags. Is the image on the screen balanced? It's asymmetrical, but is it balanced? It's an odd question because we're so used to the United States flag that we don't really think about how radically asymmetrical it is. It's possible that we've seen this image so many times that we no longer even think of it as an image. It's just the icon of the flag. This is also an iconic flag. The Colorado state flag is well designed, although a little bit on accident. The original design, approved by the state legislature, had a small c that fit within the white and was all the way on the left. A printer changed it, and everybody decided it worked better, so they had to go back and approve the new design. Is this flag symmetrical? No. The visual elements in the center are actually to the left. We are missing part of the red for completing the circle to make it symmetrical. The obvious reason is because it's a C, and C is for cookie, and that's good enough for me. Oh wait, no, C for Colorado, which actually makes perfect sense for why it's off-center, because we need room for the Colorado. Also, think about if we were to superimpose a map of the continental United States of America on this flag. Where's Colorado? Right there. There's gold in them thar hills, so you should head west and come and collect the gold. Why these colors? Well, we've got the yellow for the sun and the gold, but we also have red, white, and blue, which kind of makes sense for an American flag. Now, if you grew up in Colorado and had to take the same state history course that my daughter did, you'll also know that the red represents the iron-rich mountains, and the white, the snow on top of those mountains, that the yellow sun melts to turn into the clear blue water. So we've got some pretty straightforward, recognizable, and efficient color symbolism. Most state flags, sadly, follow this example, which is that they plunk the state seal in the middle of the big blue rectangle. This particular one is for Kansas. I'm guessing you picked up on that. Actually, this flag is the origin of the assignment, because I used to teach in Kansas, and I would have my students redesign this flag because it's so terrible. Let's spend a little bit of time talking about why it doesn't work. First of all, we have a design application problem. Where do we see a flag? Up a flagpole. Flags are intended to communicate quickly. A state seal, on the other hand, is full of small, intricate details, which is okay because you're usually going to encounter it on some sort of document where you have time to study all the small information. Let's look at what Kansas has chosen to put on their state seal. Remember, the purpose of both the state seal and the flag is to communicate. So, of course, you're going to start with Latin. Now, you can't read it because my slide is so bad, but it says ad astra per astra, which is basically Latin for reach for the stars, to the heavens through difficulty, whatever. It's then followed by 37 stars, which is so Kansas. Why 37? Because they are the 37th state. Only Kansas would celebrate coming in 37th place. Also, we have the beautiful golden sun, just like we had symbolically represented on the Colorado flag, which makes sense because the sun is trying its hardest to get out of Kansas. There are no mountains in Kansas, but it's going to go and hang out in Colorado. That's a smart sun. If we continue down, we then have a river steamboat, which, okay, do you associate steamboats with Kansas? Over here, we have these little dark lumps that you can't make out at all, but I'll go ahead and tell you they're bison. really organized bison marching in straight lines across the plains. Yeah. These weird little things that look like sheep are actually covered wagons being pulled by oxen, which makes sense because everybody is trying to go west, manifest destiny and whatnot, except they didn't call it the Kansas Trail. They called it the Oregon Trail, or people were going to California, or they were going to Colorado. They were going someplace good, and they just had to pass through Kansas to get there. Except it's really windy in Kansas, and sometimes your covered wagon would get blown over, and that is where your ancestors are different than the people from Kansas, because the people from Kansas lacked either the strength or intelligence to stand their wagon back up and continue on. So they built a cabin and then started farming. There are many problems with the state seal plunked in the middle of the flag, one of which is that it's impossible to read all that information. Another is that everybody's then looks the same. At some point in the future, as part of your artistic career, you're going to work on something, a design, a photograph, a painting, whatever it is, and you're going to realize that what you have is not quite working. It's not really communicating exactly what you want. I am here to tell you that the solution to this problem is not simply to label it. Also, you shouldn't put text on a flag. Besides the fact that it's moving and blowing in the wind, it's also a piece of cloth, which means that the sun is going to shine through it, and you're going to be able to see the design on the other side, which means that you can't read the text, because yes, this way it says Kansas, but when you see it up a flagpole, blowing in the wind, in the sunshine, it also says Saznach. This is a terrible flag, which is why it's actually a pretty good flag for Kansas.